everyone.
No hoarding. I don't hoard.
This video is about hoarding, but it's about should you have multiple accounts of Epic Game Store accounts? Should you hoard it?
Our channel is Should You Play It?
Yeah.
We review every free game from the Epic Game Store, but a lot of people realize that these games are free and try to keep multiple copies of them. And so
Which means you need to have, or some people have, multiple Epic accounts.
So we had a few
multiple free games.
Yep, we had a few interesting comments asking us, why do people have multiple accounts? Is it okay to have them? So we're going to give you a list of the reasons, good and bad reasons, that people have multiple accounts. Yeah.
The first reason for is to have a kind of backup account, because sometimes there could be an error on the Epic side that you can't access some games. Or what can happen is that your one of these accounts, if you have two accounts, one account can be suspended, but that's more of your fault, because you were either modding some game or doing something that you shouldn't. That's why you got blocked, but then you have still the second one. So backup could be a good idea, but of course it takes time. Like we have like over 200 free games, so claiming it twice takes some effort.
Yeah. What is less legitimate is something we have to talk about. Whenever something is free, some people will try to take advantage of it, get it for free, and then sell it later for their own profit. They might actually have it. They might be scamming you. They might be having it. They might have it and be kind of scamming Epic. But let's face it, there are a lot of people out there who are like who are claiming the games on multiple accounts and then trying to sell the accounts entirely later. And what a lot of these people do is they will use a VPN to buy the game in the cheapest country. But what happens is you can claim as many free games as you want, but if you buy a game with a VPN, your account will be locked to that country. Which then means every time you want to buy another game in a different country, you need an entirely new account. So in the beginning, that means that you might illegally, using a VPN, be able to get the best deal, but you will start to have each game on a separate account scattered across like 10 different like logins, and it starts to just not be worth it, in my opinion. But that is one reason why people end up with multiple accounts, because then they realize there's a better deal in another country and they create a new account to get that deal.
But actually, honest reason could be to have a second account for a friend. Actually, what is my case? Because since I do multiplayer tutorials, I need to have two accounts. One is my personal, and another one is Should You Play It, where I actually claim only the multiplayer games.
Now, then there's kind of a specific one. This is the main reason why we have multiple Epic accounts. It's because we are YouTubers, and our main Epic account is always in the videos with the username there.
That's true.
But sometimes we want a little bit of privacy. We want to be able to play without the internet knowing. So like I have some of my favorite games also on a private not connected Epic account.
Just for that reason.
Don't look for it. I deserve my privacy. But we use our public accounts in the videos, and then have like a private account that sometimes we're playing on that when we would like to. Just have a little bit
But you're gonna claim these free games on a new account.
Sure. That doesn't sound
but
illegal
you're
yet.
going to sell it.
That's
the most horrible and bad karma too. Because as we already said, if you're gonna sell it to someone, they might get it blocked later, and you shouldn't, because it's free only for your use. And you didn't make like anything for it except you created new accounts, so you should never do that.
And you shouldn't buy them, even though it seems tempting sometimes, because you're trusting that the other person actually has the games that they say they do. It takes time to claim these games. It's a lot easier to say that you have an Epic Games account with GTA 5 on it than to actually make 50 accounts like a year ago and claiming it. So you could very easily get scammed.
There's another catch for that, because if somebody else going to sell you or give you Epic Games account, it's still created by the email they own.
Yeah.
So unless they give you a full access to it, and you never know.
Yeah. So they might still
So
have like.
you might get scammed.
Yeah. Yeah. So we don't recommend that. Sometimes we have
Yeah.
people in the comments of our videos trying to sell other people
Yeah.
accounts. We block them immediately because we don't want our audience to get scammed. But that is another reason, a big reason, that a lot of people have multiple
Yeah,
Epic accounts.
definitely.
Yeah. And finally,
The last one.
yep, that we just admitted that we have multiple accounts for good reasons. But technically, you should be really careful about having multiple accounts because it is not actually legal.
Because actually, when you create one account, you're gonna accept that you read all the end user license agreement,
The EULA.
which says that it should be only for you and you shouldn't make multiple ones. So if Epic's going to find out, they can just delete yours and maybe delete both. So this is what you risk.
Yeah.
If you're going to create multiple accounts, you might risk that maybe not in a week, maybe in 2 years, where you're gonna hoard the game. Suddenly it will disappear because somehow Epic is going to find out.
So it's a bit ironic that in the beginning we were talking about having multiple accounts as a backup in case one of the accounts gets suspended, when having two accounts could get you suspended. Probably not. Epic Games is not spending a lot of time like looking for people with multiple accounts, but I think
it can happen, and I
happen.
searched through the Google and I found 2 people saying that it happened to them.
I would say if you have multiple accounts for legitimate reasons, like as a backup or the personal business thing, just make sure you're not doing anything to draw attention to yourself, like using a VPN a lot or trying to sell the accounts, because then you could actually get the attention and get your accounts back.
I would say definitely if you're trying to sell your account or even buy one, you could get your even other account to be in danger, because they could, like, if they find out you're selling it or buying it, they could suspend both of your accounts.
So be cool, guys.
Yeah.
Like we get these free games. Like just be cool. Be happy with the free games.
Yeah.
That brings us to the final question that some people asked, kind of more on the moral question. And we started this video talking about hoarding. So people who claim the free games several times are accused of hoarding.
So should you hoard it?
Should
is
you
the
hoard it? Well,
question.
my question is a little bit different. Is it wrong to hoard these games?
Yeah.
What do you think, Mikhail?
Well, I guess as we already explained, it depends all about the reason why you're doing it. Like if you want to have a backup, which is still probably not valid through the end user license agreement.
Right.
But I think it's fine unless you're making business with it, unless you're selling it. I think it's fine if you're making account for a friend.
Or for several friends, honestly. Like
Yeah, well, unless you're like doing tens of accounts. Like, I mean, you could have 200 friends and make 200 accounts, but
Don't
Epic
worry.
would get really suspicious.
You'll have
Yeah.
200 friends in the future.
Yeah.
Just wait. Make sure you have
I think
200
the-
copies.
I think
of
the better thing is to tell your friends or future friends about our channel, and they will decide to create their own account.
I think you're right that it depends why you're doing it. Having multiple accounts is not legal, but for me, the moral question is about your motivation. I don't think it's the same as hoarding. Hoarding is bad if there is a limited number. But these are digital copies. There is no limit. It's not hurting anyone.
Yeah.
The developer gets paid exactly the same by Epic Games, no matter how many people claim their game.
Yeah.
So in fact, this is a little bit controversial, but the more accounts that claim a game, not the more people, but the more accounts that claim a game, the more successful that developer seems to be in the eyes of Epic Games.
Yeah.
More accounts claiming the free games makes them think that it's more successful for their business model.
So it could actually be beneficial for us.
I see it a little bit like, I mean, use it in moderation, but it's a little bit like voting in an election where you're allowed to vote as many times as you want. Because if you really like an indie
But
game,
it's cheating for the voting.
Okay, it's like voting in an election where you're only supposed to vote once, but you go back like 10 or 20 times.
Okay.
Yeah. But
I think it's more like for tombola. You know what's tombola?
No.
Okay, it's like when you have this box and you're buying tickets to put into box, and
raffle.
you can okay, and you can buy as many tickets as you want to, and then your chance of winning is higher.
And the tickets are free.
Then they're not free, but
I think
in this case, the games are free.
Anyway, you should be aware that it is not technically legal to have multiple accounts.
Yeah.
If you're doing it in moderation with a few extra accounts for good reasons, you're probably not going to get into trouble. But there are definitely some things to be careful about, and be aware that some people are kind of doing a scammy business that could ruin it for all of us if it gets too out of control. So let us know what you thought.
And I would only add that there is still certain risk for everybody who's making second account that it will get suspended in future.
Even for us, because we just admitted on the internet that we have multiple accounts. Please, Epic,
But
it's for a good reason.
Hopefully they see that it's for a good reason.
Let us know what you think in the comments. What are the right situations in which to have multiple Epic accounts? Does it make sense for you? We're not going to ask you if you have multiple accounts, because that would just make a list for Epic Games to kind of start investigating.
Yeah.
Don't tell us.
Don't tell us. There will be so many comments telling us, I have 20 accounts of GTA 5.
We don't want to know. We don't want to know. Good for you, but don't tell us. Like, tell us any questions or thoughts that you have on. Oh wow! Yeah.
In this section down below.
Yeah, the comment thing, the box with the writing
and if you want to find other things, there is a nice bell thing, and if you click that thing, another nice thing happened to us, because you get another subscriber and you get more news from us.
Thank you for watching. We will see you in our next video.
Bye.